Alright guys, we're finally going to start working on the F350 flatbed, but before we can actually build the flatbed we need to get a receiver hitch installed on it, because I want to know where the location of all of that is. I thought it came with the truck, but it doesn't, so we have to actually drive it for about an hour or so away, and I don't want to drive it. I did drive it home this way, but I was real nervous about rocks getting thrown up against the paint or the glass or other cars and not having a bumper or anything, so it was kind of nerve-wracking, and we can't really use the truck at all because of that. So what I'm going to do is temporarily just make a wood platform just over the tires, and I'm going to have some rubber flaps in the front and the back. Just throw something together real quick, just so I can drive it around until I have time to actually build a flatbed. So what I'm going to do right now, just because I've had it on my mind, I want to move those lights further out because that's where I want them to be eventually anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So like I said earlier, I want the lights were right here, and before I get the receiver hitch bolted up back here, which is going to utilize a lot of these bolts under here, I want to make sure the placement of the lights is as far back as possible, because the bed's going to be pretty long and I want to make sure these are all the way back. So instead of just doing this, I'm actually going to go even further and make it, you know, go all the way out, but I don't want it to be, see how it's angled. So I went from that side to over here. That way it's 1 inch further back, and I'm just going to use these very back holes, and I'm just going to put some washers on it, and then I'll have to turn the lights around on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So as you can see, the lights are probably about 6 inches further back than they were before. My plate came in, so I'm going to go ahead and mount that on and take the temporary tag off, and then I'll get started on the mud flap. So I had some leftover wood from some project I'm going to use to bolt this on. This is some leftover OSB that we used for the walls and stuff, and I'm just going to cut probably a foot off, something like that, or 80 inches long, to where it can be 80 inches wide, enough to cover those tires. So I'm going to make sure I don't cut my tire. Moved it over. The widest point of the actual truck is 80 inches, so that's how wide I'm going to go.
What are we using?
Oh, my favorite tools, Ryobi. A little 18 volt. It's I don't know what size, 5 inch or something blade, but it works really good. Alright, so what we did here is we got a bolt, I guess it's like 4 or 5 inches, I don't even remember how long it is, and we just countersunk it into the wood, and where it bolts those two pieces of wood together. And on the frame, as you can see, there's no holes to mount it to other than just right here, but there is one here. So what I'm going to do is drill a hole completely through this and basically, you know, bolt that bracket to that and then bolt that to that. We're not building a house, you know, just some mud flaps. So this is what we got so far. Like I said earlier, I got a bolt going through these two, and because there's no hole going through here in the back, I just put a carriage bolt going through this bottom one, and then I bolted it to the frame there, and it's very solid. Now we're going to take this sheet right here and bolt it. drywall screw to that, and you'll have some overhang, and then I'm going to have some flaps in the front and the back. You'll see, it'll be awesome. So obviously it's going to be flipped the other way. Can't really judge it yet, but while it's in this position, I'm just going to go ahead and paint the edges. And this is just some rubber stuff that I acquired years ago that somebody was throwing away, so I was like, that looks useful, I'm going to use that one day. And what I did is took a piece of 3/4 OSB and sandwiched it together, and I'm going to just flip it over and I'm going to paint the whole top rattle can black. So it's going to look kind of goofy, but kind of cool, but it's going to serve its purpose for the next month or so until I can finally build a bed for it. The objective is to be able to drive it around temporarily without getting rock stones everywhere. And because it's going to take about a month before I can have a chance to start building a flatbed for it. I'm going to need the truck to go get a trailer hitch put on, and it's about an hour and a half away. And I'm also going to get the windows tinted, which is also an hour and a half away, so I don't want to be driving it without any mud flaps or anything like that. I just got to screw it down. I'm just going to pre-drill it. And that should be it. And that's some 2.5-inch screws, so it's going, through both of the 1-bys down there. Going to do is put a piece of angle on right here just to force this further down, because if you notice over there, the exhaust pipe is back there, and with the wind blowing, not saying it'll melt it or anything, but it may make a weird noise that's going to aggravate me. So I'm going to put a piece of bracket angle on. Alright, so we did a little test run to see if the flaps are too low or too high, and obviously they're a little low. They're kind of beating up against the tires. And I added this. I don't know if y'all saw that yet. This was kind of bowing on each side because there's just no support. I didn't make this for this. I already had this made, so I just screwed it down and it went fine. But we got a little bit of a problem right here. I figured it wouldn't get hot enough to melt rubber, but apparently it is. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them all the way around, about 6-8 inches.